Marysville Bulldogs Coach's Corner, a service of the Citizen State Bank's Darren's Repair, Inline Construction, Dean's Automotive, and Blue Valley Technologies.
Our roots are in agriculture. We're local. Many of us were born and raised in the areas that we serve. Because of that, we make our ag decisions right here at the bank. There's no waiting for some out-of-town approval on your loan requests. So rather than planting your seeds in someone else's field, stop by and let's talk. We're here to help you grow. Citizen State Bank, Marysville, Waterville, and Hanover. Member FDIC.
Sometimes the simplest ways just work the best. When you need automotive repair or service, call Darren Svoboda with Darren's Auto Repair. You'll get an experienced mechanic that you can trust to do the job right the first time. When you call, you'll talk with a mechanic, not an appointment advisor. He'll work to get your job in and out and get you back on the road. Always putting the customer first. Darren works to let you choose how much or how little repair work you actually need. Ask around. His reputation speaks for itself. Darren Svoboda with Darren's Auto Repair. A little out of the way in the alley at 604 Oak Street in Marysville, but sure worth finding. Call Darren at 562-7745.
Ag Storage can improve your farming operation. When you're planning, from building and grain bin pads to commercial approach and drives, call for a quote from Inline Construction in Marysville today. For all types concrete work, phone 785-562-5525.
Welcome into the Marysville Bulldog Coaches Corner program, joined today with Ben Wertenberger, head coach of the girls team. Coach, want to talk about the Nemaha tournament there a little bit. Last week, team ended up going 2-1 after falling to a tough Troy team in the first round of the action. But how do you feel the team played, competed, and what'd you get out of it?
I thought it was a good week for us for the most part. I wasn't thrilled with the way we played against Troy. Troy's a pretty good team, and they've got a really good player and Harper Wetstein's her name, and she played really well that night. We just couldn't really get control of her. She just had the ball game under her control, and we couldn't ever take it from her. But we had gotten bombed at Wamego the Friday before, and we were a little shook by that, to be honest with you. So our confidence was a little low coming into that game, but I felt through the week that we gained some of that back, and we kind of started to put the pieces back together from what had happened to us. You're going to have some lows in the year, and that Wamego game was certainly one for us. And then to kind of start to put it back together felt pretty good.
Well, and you used a word in there, confidence, and I kind of wanted to ask you about that. Just looking at this first half of the season, I'll call it, kind of started off with a rough patch, then got some good wins, and like you said, Wamego, but bounced back there to get pickup wins against Holton and Jackson Heights. Where is this team's confidence at, and where else do you think it can grow?
I feel pretty good about that. I mean, our practices have been good, which has been good and a little bit of a source of frustration for me because we have practiced better than we've played. And so it's been, the last couple of days when we finished practice, I've said, did we improve today? And the girls have all shook their head yes. And I've said, well, we don't know that yet because until we take this practice stuff and get it on the game floor, we can't really say that. And, they're willing to work. You and I talked a little bit about the fact that have played, all but two girls have had, no varsity experience coming into the season. So there's always going to be some growing pains with that, and we certainly had them. But I feel like, now in the second half of the season, some of that inexperience and, being a little overwhelmed by Friday night, some of that's starting to disappear. So I feel like we're moving in a good direction. I've coached them hard, and they've responded to that really well. There have been some bumps on that too, but they've let me coach them hard, and that helps get rid of some of that early season junk that we were talking about a little quicker.
Well, absolutely. And when they're willing to take that criticism, I use it, and turn it into constructive, I know that's always an important part. And this time of year too, I tend to call it, I guess, the dog days of basketball season. It's starting to get there. Is everyone staying engaged, still enjoying it? And like you said, practicing, playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the easiest way I would say it is this: we practiced at 6 a.m. this morning. And everybody was there at 5:55, and we got after it for an hour and a half, and there was no excuses. There was nobody looking for a way out. They came to work, and by 7:30 we'd had a pretty good day. And you mentioned off there that it's cold and it's dark and it's, people get sick this time of year. We have that same as anybody else does. So you got to work to come in, and you got to have the right attitude to come in and make a good day out of it. But it was no different effort-wise than a normal after-school practice. There was no looking for an easy way out. So, that kind of says a lot to me because, like you said, it's in the grind part of the year where you do get wore down a little bit. So I was pretty pleased by that.
Well, and that's always important to talk about, me, you, Scott, a lot of coaches always talk about the importance of practice, and it's something that I think sometimes the, public doesn't always take into consideration. They just see what you put out there. But as long as you're able to get that work in, that's a big aspect of it too as well. And I guess, looking forward, I'm just looking at next week, Concordia, Rock Creek. Those are two teams that you fell to early in the season, but played them close. Yep. How excited, I guess, are the girls now to get another crack at those two teams?
The Concordia game was the game right before Christmas, and we were really disgusted with how we played in that ball game. And so I think we're very motivated for that game. And then Rock Creek is a fantastic team. I think they're 13, 14-2, something like that. They just beat Silver Lake. And the second half of that game, we played really well against them. And they're a challenge. Both teams are athletic, and Concordia has some size. Rock Creek does too. And then, the girl out front for Rock, she runs a 58-second quarter. I mean, she can fly. She's just really a fantastic player. So we'll certainly have our hands full with that. But, that's one thing that I think has changed about our team. I think, early season we were scared of stuff like that, to be honest with you. We've seen enough of it now that I don't know that we're afraid of it. Now it's just a matter of, can we execute well enough to beat them?
And one thing, just in my short time here covering Marysville a little bit, it seems like the MO of your teams is always getting better by the end of it. And I see it, I think, a little bit in talking with Bruce, that's kind of the track this team is on again. How pleased have you been with their, commitment to stick it out, their commitment to continue to get better every day, and to, know that the end of the season is really, in March in those sub-state games?
That's 100% what we're doing. I mean, and I think the girls understand that from what happened last year. Our schedule's brutal, and you're going to have some ups and downs when you schedule the people we have. I mean, we've played just about every good team in Northeast Kansas, and so there's going to be some hiccups, especially when you start young like we did. But when we go to a 3A sub-state, there's nothing there that we haven't seen. So there's nothing to be afraid of, and really, I mean, the regular season is important, but nobody really remembers the regular season if you have a good postseason. I take the long-term view on a lot of this stuff, and I'm maybe more patient than some of those kinds of things. But, bottom line to me is, what do you do in March? And so that's what we're getting ready for. And, when you look at our next three games, Concordia, Rock Creek, and Silver Lake is the only one that's a potential even opponent for us. And I think there's a lot of value in the prep we're going to get from those three teams for what we're going to see then in 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, I think you mentioned it right there, too, as well. A regular season prepares you for what you're going to see, and when you play up, especially in classifications, facing against tougher teams, it does really prepare you for that postseason. And last one here for this part of the interview, Ben, but as you do look at this season, where's an area that you still want this team to hopefully take a stride at before sub-state?
Well, there's really three big ones in my mind. We got to cut turnovers a little more. We got to be a little more efficient around the basket. And our defense has to be more consistent. There's defensive possessions where we are really solid and quite good. And then we'll follow it up with one where we lose somebody for a layup. And really, if you're going to win postseason games, you can't get buckets. And that's a big area where we need to make some strides. Defensive communication, I think every coach spends a lot of time on that. But when we do it well, we play pretty good defense. When we don't do it well, we get cut to bits. And that's kind of been the story of our season on that side of the ball. And that has to improve.
Well, and I think something about defense, too, it always travels. Whether it gets off the bus or it's there at home, it always travels for you.
Sure.
Again, talking with Ben Wertenberger, head coach of the Marysville girls. I appreciate the time, Ben. We'll look forward to chatting here in a couple weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
This new year, you deserve better. Better internet, better speeds, and better service from a company that gives back to your community. Sign up for Blue Valley Technologies Fiber Internet and get 3 months free. Already a customer? Try a faster speed for 3 months at no extra cost. For more details, visit us at bluevalley.net or call 877-876-1228. Happy New Year.
Danes Automotive in Marysville and Waterville has always been your trusted and certified automotive repair shop. But did you know Danes carries tires? With every major brand and size from pickups, ATVs, trailers, and car tires, Danes has you covered. Don't wait until the old set gives out. Grab a new set along with balancing, alignments, and front-end work for any make and model. Find Danes Automotive in Marysville and Waterville online and give them a call to stay on the road, wherever it takes you.
Marysville Bulldogs Coaches Corner, a service of the Citizen State Banks, Darren's Repair, Inline Construction, Dean's Automotive, and Blue Valley Technology.